There's a perception that healthy foods are expensive, and it's mainly because of the fact that people do not have much knowledge on how to get and access the food, like for instance growing your own food. For the Spinach King, I started this 5 years ago, where I started by selling 4 loaves, baking from a neighbor's oven. Started the business with 40 rands, a neighbor's oven, and as well as a bunch of spinach from the garden that I used to volunteer from. So ever since then, the neighbor that I was baking from, I was ought to sell so that I can come back and bake again during the night. So what happened is that it went on to a situation where education was required before I sell. So health education was what I was actually giving to the people more than anything else. So the word of mouth has spread to a point where everyone in Khayelitsha understands what we do. When I started, no one thought that Khayelitsha would, accept such a concept.
It's nice. It's nice. Okay.
We were approached by Wesley, who heads up the social responsibility side of Virgin, to take care of this project called the Spinach King for a guy called Lufefe. He is an inspiring individual and entrepreneur in Khayelitsha whose vision it is to bring healthy food to the people of Khayelitsha in the townships. So to be empathetic and to be culturally relevant to Lufefe's story, we wanted to incorporate some kind of African theme and something that kind of wouldn't stand out like a sore thumb in the context of Khayelitsha. And we had an aha moment, in which was the weave, which seems to integrate quite seamlessly into some of the design elements that we have. For example, the basket weave counter and the way we integrated the weaving texture on the floor. And also the existing painting, which was a weave kind of structure. And that was our primary inference point in which we designed towards for this project. Oh.
Good stuff. So here we've got a batch of spinach bread. This is the low GI one. As you might see, it's a bit brown, fresh straight from the oven. So this one is made out of organic spinaches. We know that we use organic spinach. We've got some herbs that we infuse here as well, such as rosemary and basil, as part of our magic in terms of trying to come up with a different recipe of a bread as opposed to an ordinary brown and white bread. This is literally a green bread. I sat down and put on my thinking caps as to what is it that I can do for Khayelitsha, and that time I needed to know what was the problem, and the problem was unhealthy eating, unhealthy lifestyle that then leads to unhealthy activities such as what we see. I went to Michael Mapongwana Hospital, where I worked with a dietitian for 2 months as a volunteer. Then that's when and where I was learning about the diets and also trying to learn about the menu planning and what needs to be done when needs to be prepared when you're preparing something for someone who is perhaps chronic or someone who is perhaps ill, because of food.
When we finally got to the space and we had our design inference, which was the basket weave, our main influence for this space, we incorporated this concept with the few elements that we had available into the space. And these were the counter, which is probably the most important tool in a cafe, the floor, an opportunity of a large surface to incorporate the weave with, and then some other features like lights and what have you in the space.
what was quite interesting is that spending a bit of time there, the food that they have available is really basic, kind of like pap and really fried chicken, and not really as healthy. And it was quite an interesting concept that I found out when spending time there, is that for them, for their culture, to eat is to be healthy, not necessarily what you're eating is healthy, you know. So here comes the guy Lufefe with this amazing product, spinach bread and feta and cheese muffins, which we in Cape Town kind of almost take for granted, but over there it's like one of a kind. And he's really doing something unique and different that no one else has done. And I mean, to be the first healthy food cafe in Khayelitsha is saying quite something. And the fact that the people in the community are responding really well to it.
Yeah,
it's really exciting.
It runs deeper than that too, because he sets up the small plots of land where the ladies there farm the actual spinach. So he's actually getting his supplies from in the community and selling it to the community, keeping all the money inside and growing the economy, which is such a wholesome project. Its entirety, the whole sustainability of it is fantastic. So we really we put a lot of effort with all our clients, but this particular client we were very stoked to work for.
Because entrepreneurship is the way to go these days. There are no jobs, and also there's no hope that there will be jobs, looking at the situation of our country at this moment. And I think for me it's important that we try and solve the problems of our country, and by doing so, that's how entrepreneurship will come. For me, I didn't know that I will start this business. I was just going to the garden, assisting elderly women that are so as needy. Then I went there. From there, I fell in love with spinach. Then, boom, the idea came, and I'm now running an internationally recognized, company from just 40 rands and working from a garden.